Let's have a look at Moodeng one more time. It's one of the top performing cryptocurrencies. It more than 10x in the last month alone. The question is, how much longer can this rally last? What's the potential top of this rally? We're going to look at on-chain data one more time. We're going to discover things that most people are not looking at. So this is the cryptocurrencies between place 100 and 200 in terms of market cap. And obviously Moodeng is standing out. We talked about Moodeng just 4 days ago. And initially the video underperformed the average video. But then the price started surging and then the interest came in. So this is typical, right? Most people tend to be late. They look at a rally that has already happened, but maybe there's some more upside potential. Let's have a look. That video 4 days ago was published when the price was still below 13 cents. So if you want to be early next time, feel free to subscribe over here. I publish videos regularly. Now we are at 30 cents. Now let's first have a look at what happened in the last month. Again, the price more than 10x'd. What we see in this chart is the number of new traders versus recurring traders per day for the last month. And we saw a massive influx of new traders on the 9th of May. That's where we peaked. Since then, the growth is slowing down a bit, but still, this metric still looks healthy. Now we can forget about the latest data point because today hasn't yet finished. It has just started. So you might just see another high in the number of first-time traders. What we've got over here is the trading volume on decentralized finance. So on the Solana chain directly in US dollars. We've seen nice growth after the launch in September of last year. Then attention died down, another wave, another decline, etc. And then quite a long time of silence. Now Moodeng is waking up again. Now this trading volume is split up across different wallet cohorts. So small retail here in orange is all the wallets that have less than $1,000 worth of Moodeng. Medium-sized retail is up to 10,000, large retail is up to 100,000, and whales is above 100,000. Now instead of just looking at this in terms of US dollars, we can also normalize this to 100% every day. So that's then what we see over here. Over time, small retail makes up more and more of the trading volume over time. So it seems like the very first rally in Moodeng was triggered. So that is what happened in September of last year. So that's this rally over here. But the subsequent rallies that we've seen, they seem to be much more retail driven. At least it was not whales on chain that created a lot of the trading volume. What is interesting though is that still the whales tend to hold most of the supply. So again, that's the wallets that have more than $100,000 worth of the token. 89% is in the whale hands. But more often than not, the whales tend to follow the overall trend, the momentum of retail. If retail continues to accumulate the token, then the whales just continue holding, potentially buying as well. Now what we see on the left is the number of wallets that hold at least 3,000 Moodeng tokens. So at the current price, that's a bit under $1,000. For the chart in the middle, a wallet has to hold at least 30,000 Moodeng tokens, so $10,000. And for the chart on the right, another 10x, so that's now $100,000. We can see how the whales increased in number, so from 155 whales to 190 whales, so an increase of 25% or so, while the number of retail investors didn't really grow. Again, the percent ownership of the whales also increased recently. And so I interpret this actually as a positive signal because the whales tend to make the right call most of the time, right? That's why they are whales. They are big wallets because they tend to buy lower and sell higher than the average investor. Crypto is a game of both luck and skill. And the more the game is played, the more the capital concentrates towards the people that are skilled or that are the insiders. Now let's have a look at the derivatives market, so the bets on the price. So this first is the spot market. Most trading volume happens here on Coinbase, 170 million. But here's the perpetual futures. There is 2.1 billion worth of trading volume on Binance alone, and that's in the last 24 hours. So this is really where the price discovery currently happens. We are seeing that a lot of the rally is fueled due to positive leverage. So there's a lot of demand to go long in Moodeng on the perps. We also see how the sheer amount of bets on the price rose sharply. So there's a strong correlation between the spot price, that's in yellow, and the open interest on the perpetual futures, so that's in green. And especially the open interest on the perps went up. It went up so high that it outpaced the increase in the spot price by roughly 2x. And there seems to be a profitable business by the whales and by the market makers because there's continued liquidations on the short side. The shorts are losing money, they get forced liquidated, and that means more buying pressure for Moodeng. There are people that bet on falling prices and the price continues rising. Those people have to then use the remaining of their collateral to pay off any perpetual futures debt. Now here's Moodeng relative to Solana. Most of the time the token tended to underperform, but then came the first short squeeze, a retracement, a secondary short squeeze, and now we are starting to get at historical heights again. It might even make sense to short Moodeng once we see another squeeze. And that's after an additional outperformance of only 40%. So it means at $1.40, $1.45, it's probably wise to at least take partial profit. I don't have a crystal ball either, but I'm going to continue to watch the financing rates. If there's no massive short interest at the time, if we are at 45 cents and the funding rates aren't incredibly negative and it's super profitable for the market makers to do another short squeeze, then I will enter a short in Moodeng as well. But right now, the momentum is still positive. I do believe there's a good chance we will see higher prices from here still. Now let's zoom out a little bit and have a look at the macro picture. We actually see an expanding crypto market, money flowing into the market since October of 2023 already. We know this because of this data over here, the stablecoin market cap. It's currently going up. Before October of 2023, it tended to go down. And the way this data is generated by looking at the minting and the redemption of stablecoins. So fundamentally how this works is when you deposit your hard-earned fiat currency to a centralized exchange, then that centralized exchange will send over the fiat currency to a custodian, to a stablecoin issuer. That custodian, so be it USDC, so Circle, or Tether for USDT, that custodian will hold the funds in a dedicated account and then will create tokens. So that's what's happening when this chart is going up. Whenever you're withdrawing your funds, then of course the custodian has to release again the fiat, send it over to you via the centralized exchange, and that's when we go down. And there's a reasonable case to be made that the more money is in a system, the higher the prices should go. Have a look at this. This is Bitcoin since October of 2023. And the largest drawdown we have seen while money was still flowing into the market was 28%. But again, when money is flowing in, those dips tend to get bought up. Now, what are those green circles over here? They appear after a price rally. It's an indication when there's a lot of attention on crypto. So there was a spike in search interest for Bitcoin at the beginning of March of 2024, but also at the beginning, middle of November of 2024. So that's what's highlighted with those bubbles. The masses tend to be late. The masses tend to buy after a price rally. And that's a problem, right? Most people enter crypto when prices are high and then potentially comes at least a short-term correction. And then a lot of those people that got excited about Bitcoin first have to ride through that correction. It can be minor, since currently the market still expands, but it can also be major, of course, as we have seen with prior attention spikes. And so there are two fundamental forces that move the crypto prices. First of all, it's the money in and outflows, but it's also the swapping activity. So once there's capital in the system, people tend to swap in and out of Bitcoin, but also in and out of the altcoins. And whenever we deploy, say, $100 worth of stable coins, the market cap of a crypto asset rises more than that. There is some inherent leverage effect. And that means we can measure how much the market is currently risk on or risk off. What we've got over here is the stablecoin dominance. So it's not the stablecoin market cap, it's the stablecoin dominance. It measures how much of the entire cryptocurrency market cap is currently in stablecoins. When this is very high, the market is risk off. So a lot of the market cap is in stablecoins. When this is very low, the market is very risk on. And in the last 1.5 years, we tended to trade in a range between 5% stablecoin dominance and 9% stablecoin dominance. And surprise, surprise, when the stablecoin dominance is high, it means crypto prices are very low. When the stablecoin dominance is low, crypto prices tend to be high. So interestingly enough, whenever the stablecoin dominance is low. And when prices have already gone up, that's when the tourists enter and first get burned. So we want to be counter-cyclical. We want to sell when stablecoin dominance is low. We want to buy when stablecoin dominance is high. And it very much looks like we are currently on the way to seeing more stablecoin deployments. In other words, the current positive rally is probably going to continue. I don't have a crystal ball. It's just the way how I interpret the data. And then the question is, does it make sense to just buy Bitcoin if we expect prices to go up, or should we rather go with the altcoins? Now, some altcoins can do phenomenally. Others tend to underperform. But let's have a look at, for example, Virtual. Virtual went up by almost 3x in the last month. But I think it's better to try to find those altcoins very early. So the real gains had been made in the early days, right? When we look at the all-time chart of Virtual Protocol, those gains are immense. 20,000%. And so the life-changing money is not necessarily just in riding the current wave and buying a broad basket of altcoins. It's trying to find approaches to get into those altcoins much earlier than most. And I think a very good approach is to look at people that tended to buy well-performing assets early in the past. So for example here, right, this is Brian Young. He bought the Virtual Protocol token at 7 cents. And that was on the 21st of March 2024. So that's over here. We subsequently saw a rally of more than 6,000%. And so here's his YouTube channel, right? He's got more than 2 million subscribers. It of course begs the question, is Brian Young just more skilled, or does he have sufficient impact on the prices? Because maybe some of his following is buying into the token as well. I don't know, but it's always valuable to know what those kind of people are doing. The way how we knew about Brian Young buying into the token at that time was not because he announced it that early on his channel. It was because we track his wallets. We've got 5 of Brian Young's wallets. In total, we track almost 600 influencer wallets. So we've got also wallets by Alex Becker. He's got 1.6 million subscribers. We are also tracking the Crypto Banter channel. They've got 1.2 million subscribers. And again, I think it makes sense to be very early with the insiders and with the people that move the market. Now, of course, not every single token that's purchased by an influencer is going to rally. Some tokens are just bought and never announced on the social media, so we don't have the purchases by the following. But if you want to have a chance of being early, if you want to get the 10 or 20x returns, we can't just buy what's already big, right? We have to buy the things that the smart money is buying as well. And so here are a few examples of trades that our community has made. We discuss the influencer trades. We discuss potential opportunities to bet on rising, but also to bet on falling prices, depending on market conditions. And so, of course, we track our influencer wallets, but there's also a tutorial section on just how to find those influencer wallets. There are various approaches through NFTs, through related transactions, through deposit addresses on centralized exchanges. There are 8 tutorial videos in total. And so then the community is trying to figure out what wallets that we are not yet tracking can we potentially add to our bot. So there's a dedicated wallet research chat. We've just added influencer Chicken Genius. And then every day we get signals when influencers buy and sell. Selling is also important, right? Most people don't publish when they sell. It's very interesting. Some people just buy, publish a video on an asset, and then sell just a few hours afterwards. They're literally pumping and dumping on the audience. It's quite nice to look behind the scenes. And so feel free to check it out. It's down below. It's thebitcoinstrader.com. Currently the price is $125 per month. It went down because search interest in crypto is now rather low. Once we are up again, the price of course will get increased, but not for the people that are already subscribed. So once you sign up for $125, that price is locked in. So here's my recommendation. Don't wait until attention is again at those heights. We are still early. The market is expanding though. Macro is positive, but you don't want to wait until the rally has already happened. Right now, attention is still low. The rally is likely going to continue. As said, there is still money on the sidelines. The stablecoin dominance has room to further fall, which will result in rising altcoin prices. It's just about figuring out what altcoin has most upside. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in Premium. The link is down below, thebitcoinstrader.com. There should also be a link directly here on the screen where you click on that link, then it will lead you directly to the page. See you next time. Bye-bye.